So the last application in this bundle of three is the Thought Challenger, which started out as a simple math simulator, a way to present math problems, but with a twist. So let's just go through it. As with all of them, there's a instructor interface where you can choose questions to assign and put in your user code and build the URL, which is the assignment, locator, and that's the thing you're going to mail to the students. There are ways to browse the database. There are 122 questions in it. They all present some kind of math scenario or some kind of logical thinking scenario or some interpretation scenario. We're getting into blood gases and now blood bank and microbiology. And so there are a lot of, places where people just have to figure things out. So, and math being the most basic, we started with that. So there are questions here, and they're tried to be placed in realistic scenarios, and there are graphs to interpret. Anyway, you can browse through the entire database like this, and I'm going real fast, but when you get the sample, you can see what you want. When you get one that you want, like a just starting out student, or you might want to use this to just test your admission candidates, you can add it, and you can then build a list of assignments. So let's just say we're screening some admission candidates, and we want to see if they can do simple math. Then we might just build a list of questions like this. We would then put in our user code, and I have one set up just so I can test it, and at the end of the day, build the URL. And then the URL is it's a lot longer than this. This is the tail end of it. But when you click that, it's going to go ahead and present the question to the student. So you would then copy the URL, send it in an email, or post it to your learning management system. However you get things to the, I'm gonna go back to this. However you get things to your students. So I showed you you could go through them one at a time, but you can also pick them by category. For instance, if you're in hematology and you want to quiz them on absolute values, there's actually 10 questions on that, and you can just click through and choose the one you want. And then there's actually some on flow cytometry, getting the absolute numbers of CD4 positive cells. So again, when you find one you like, you add it, and it adds it here. You can also then change categories. Suppose you wanted to give them some blood gas questions, then you could add a few of those, and different conditions. You can see there's some protein electrophoresis, just simple percentage. So what you were doing here is building an assignment list. And again, when you build this list, and there are a lot of questions are very similar, and that's so you can give some in practice and then some in assessment, when it's time to give a test. So what else? RBC indices, there's solution, there's temperature conversions, going from, again, you might want to use that to screen your candidates. Quality assurance, there's interpretations of Levy-Jennings and calculations, just so they understand what these numbers mean. Now, I didn't really get into the thought part. Let's go ahead and I want to add this one and get rid of the rest, so we could use this as an example. So you can also edit your list this way. I'm just going to give them one question to answer, and it's right here. It's telling me to look at this and see if you can calculate what the standard deviation is. What's the mean? I'm sorry. What we've done is we've wiped out the standard deviation and the mean. And so how can you calculate what the mean is? And just to see if they understand these relationships. So in this case, could you use the 1SDs? Well, you can't, because one of the yeah, you could use the 1SD, you can use the 2SD or the 3SD. You don't need the CV. So what they need to do is sort through and logically come up with how they could answer the question. And actually 2 is not valid because we've also blacked out the 2SD values. So you can't use those two. And once you get those right, again, you can click this and you would then see, the average of, say, the 3SDs. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's, yeah. So, and then they get feedback, what the author said. They have a flashcard, which then reviews how you would do it. In this case, there are 2 ways to do it. You could use the 1SD value or the 3SD. You come up with the same answer each way. And then there's a video, if that's not clear enough, where I talk them through it. And there we go. At the end of the day, they put their, their name and submit, and they get the feedback on the list. And the little parentheses there is how many times it took them to get through those four questions. And I didn't quite show you that. If you get these wrong, for instance, if you click this one, and this one, it's going to say rethink it. So you have to look at the data and reconsider until you get it correct. And then once you get it correct, it lets you move forward. So it challenges thought, right? It makes you think. That's the whole concept.